Hey folks, today is Friday, September 25th, 2020. As usual, my name is Jake Baldino, here to talk about all the video game stuff that has been going on this week. And I've been saying this constantly for the last couple weeks in a row, but there's a lot to talk about, so let's just jump in and first talk about, of course, next generation consoles. So, as many of you probably tried, like myself, PlayStation 5 pre-orders were pretty nuts last week, and now Sony has made a statement acknowledging how difficult it was for some people to get their hands on them. I'll read their tweet. They said, "Let's be honest, PS5 pre-orders could have been a lot smoother. We truly apologize for that. Over the next few days, we will release more PlayStation 5 consoles for pre-order. Retailers will share more details, and more PlayStation 5s will be available through the end of the year." So take that as number one, Sony acknowledging an issue, which is pretty cool for them to actually come clean about something. But number two, to keep an eye on it consistently because more will be rolling out, and possibly you'll still be able to get your hands on one if you didn't already by the end of the year. This is good to know considering reports, of course, have been coming out for the past couple of months saying that manufacturing these next generation consoles means there's going to be not enough out there for everybody. But we have seen little things pop up here and there, more going for sale. Like I said last week, and just tips and stuff, follow Wario64 on Twitter, turn on Twitter notifications to kind of get notified when things go on sale. He's usually the quickest, so there you go. Also, if we're talking about PlayStation 5 pre-order problems, Xbox pre-orders went live this week for the Xbox Series X, and I thought that was even more difficult. I had a hard time getting my hands on that. I have to, of course, pre-order both for my job, and it was a little pain in the ass. But since we're talking about Xbox, we got to acknowledge the other big news bit this week. This was earlier in the week on Monday, but it was announced that Microsoft and Xbox have acquired ZeniMax and, of course, Bethesda for $7.5 billion. An insane amount of money. An unprecedented amount of money for something like this. This is more than like Star Wars, and it's just wow. They are, of course, buying the talent, all of the studios that they have, from the Wolfenstein makers to Arcane, the people behind Dishonored, and of course Bethesda Game Studios behind the juggernauts like Fallout and of course the Elder Scrolls. So right there, I think, is where a lot of that value is. There's still a lot of up in the air. Will they, won't they, in terms of like exclusivity stuff? There are a lot of debates. People are convinced either way, but there's no official announcement other than Phil Spencer saying that they're currently honoring the PlayStation exclusive agreements for Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo, but other than that, stuff is going to be on Game Pass, and then they are going to evaluate platforms on a case-by-case basis. Microsoft has an interesting track record with this type of stuff, so it could go either way. Like I said, people feel strongly either way. I flip-flop back and forth. I don't know what they're going to do. We're just going to have to wait and see. I want to hear what you guys think in the comments, though, because everybody has something to say about this. This is probably one of the biggest things in a while in the full gaming industry. It's like shaking. It's nuts. If you want to learn more about that, we did do videos earlier in the week, so go peep those. But something we haven't talked about in a minute, considering we usually always do constantly, Cyberpunk 2077. We got another Night City Wire, just introducing us to more stuff in the game from CD Projekt Red. A bunch of cool shit in there. But one interesting thing that caught headlines and a lot of people talking was game length. Yes, everybody's favorite question. Game length, you know, where you want every game to take you 200 hours to beat, but you want it to cost $10. Wouldn't that be a perfect world? Anyway, CD Projekt Red did go on record, one of the main quest designers did go on record talking about how long the game is and that it is technically going to be a little shorter than The Witcher 3's campaign, and that was because of them going on statistics and data, seeing that a lot of people got towards the end of The Witcher 3, but not everybody finished it. The quote is, "You see tremendous numbers of people played through that game really far, but never made it to the end. We want you to see the full story, so we did shorten the main story, but we have lots to do, and in terms of a completionist campaign, I just don't have that number." For an RPG, for a game like this, that doesn't bother me at all. Like, totally. The fact that I'm sure I'm going to be spending a lot more time in that game world doing a bunch of other distractions, just like I did in The Witcher 3, I am totally fine with the campaign being maybe slightly shorter than The Witcher 3's, especially if that gives it time to really hone in and just make every ounce of that campaign be unique and really interesting. Now moving on, let's talk about something that I love more than anything. Old video games. We got some things returning, most importantly, Freedom Fighters. If you know me, if you watch this channel or other stuff I do for a while, you know Freedom Fighters is one of my favorite games ever. It's an IO Interactive joint. The guys behind Hitman, they still own it, and now they have officially re-released that thing on PC. So like you can literally go get it on Steam. I haven't touched this version yet, but I highly recommend the game. It's a lot of fun. It's aged a little bit, but I still think it's a really good time. And I just hope that maybe this does okay and IO Interactive realizes like, oh, hey, we should make a Freedom Fighters 2. That will be a really awesome style of game in 2020. Homefront and those types of things were... Freedom Fighters can really blow that concept out of the water. Anyway, I could talk about that forever, but if we're talking about things I could talk about forever, Metal Gear Solid, my other favorite thing. This is a great week. So Konami has released a bunch of classic Konami games on PC storefronts, like good old games. This is the original Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance, also Castlevania 1 and 2, and the original Contras. And also the original Metal Gear, although I don't see yet which version out of it. It's the Nintendo version or the MSX version. There's a difference. I digress. This is very cool. I'm not super into supporting Konami. I'm just not really about anything that they really do anymore, or they don't really do anything, but they did do this. I am happy that these games are available on PC for people to get exposed to them. I highly recommend, of course, the original Metal Gear Solid. It's like one of the best games ever. So take that for what you will. Go for it. See what happens. See why I love that game. But there was also a rumor floating around earlier this week that Metal Gear Solid is being remade. I have a lot of thoughts about this. I'm probably going to save a lot of that for a video on my other channel, youtube.com/JakeBaldino. But the rumor's kind of up in the air. Some people think it's from a valid source. Some people think it is happening. I don't know. I don't really want the first game to be remade. It's been remade already. I think the original game is just such a precious, perfect thing. I'd rather see those resources spent on like remaking the original Metal Gear, making that a whole new thing. There's more exciting things to do in the Metal Gear Solid universe, you know? Anyway, sorry. I know I said I could talk forever on that. So let's talk about some trailers and stuff that dropped this week. Of course, everything I talk about will be linked in the description below, but the first thing is a trailer for No Man's Sky Origins. Yes, another massive and seemingly awesome content update for No Man's Sky. I say it every time this happens, but that was a game that I originally spent $60 on, wasn't super crazy about, but more and more, I'm very happy I made that purchase because I popped that disc in, and then every time I do, it's just a massively better game overall. Props to them. I'm just honestly really happy to see No Man's Sky kind of have like a good happy ending, you know? Speaking of happy endings, Left 4 Dead 2 is in the news. Left 4 Dead 2 finally has an update. This is an officially released community update, and we got a trailer for it and everything, and wow, I just can't believe this is a thing, but it's cool. Valve is weird. Also linked below, all of this is ongoing still, but Tokyo Game Show, Capcom did a stream breaking down the new Monster Hunter Rise and stuff like that. Also a couple of little new bits of info on Resident Evil Village, which is still my most anticipated. We've also linked a trailer for Kirby Fighters 2, which is officially announced. It's a thing, and you can play it. And last but certainly not least, if you're watching this on Friday, Mafia Definitive Edition is out. I worked on it before you buy. I did the review. You can check that out, linked right here, Before You Buy Mafia. If you're looking for just like a good old-fashioned, straightforward, single-player, narrative, story-based, awesome game, I highly recommend it. Also, in terms of reading material, this is pretty short, but it is the National Aging Institute put out a statement saying that video games can actually improve memory for older people. You know what that means? Put grandma in front of Valorant. Let's do it. But speaking of games of those types, I'm just killing it on the segues today. Blizzard's founder has formed a new company. As he's no longer with Activision Blizzard, Mike Morhaime himself has founded a new game company called Dreamhaven. Isn't that a band? Isn't Dreamhaven a band?
Dream Theater.
Oh. Dreamhaven is going to have like 2 studios working on different things, and it's also not just Mike Morhaime. A couple of other classic Blizzard higher-ups are also coming along. So this makes Dreamhaven something to watch, something to keep an eye on for the next few years. I think this is exciting. There's always something moving and shaking in this industry, so hopefully it just means more good games to play. And also, in case you missed it, Amazon has officially announced their game streaming service platform thing. Everybody's got one of these. I got one. It's called I'm Tired, Give Me Your Money. No, but in all seriousness, Amazon's new cloud service is called Luna. It's going to have an introductory price of $6 a month during its like early access thing. You're going to be able to stream 4K 60 games. There's a bunch of like mainstream games on it already, like Control, Resident Evil 7, The Surge 2, and they're going to be adding more games. And apparently this is going to feature Twitch integration, and I think this is the most interesting thing for those of you guys out there who watch Twitch streamers, is just how they're going to leverage that Twitch powerhouse, because Google had a bunch of gaming YouTubers to leverage with Stadia, but I don't think they tried hard enough. So there you have it, another interesting opportunity if you are a fan of game streaming. There's another one to try. There's basically going to be one for everyone now. Believe it or not, as much as I wasn't crazy about Stadia at first, there are a lot of people out there that do enjoy it. I'm more into like it just kind of integrating with a platform you currently have games on, like GeForce Now or the Xbox thing, but that's just me. If you want to buy into this and some sort of Netflix of games type of thing, go for it. But I am curious to hear what you guys have to say about game streaming. Everybody has an opinion on it, so let me know down in the comments. Let's wrap this up. Time for me to go home. Hopefully we talked about everything this week. There wasn't time for everything, but hopefully we got you covered. Hopefully we filled you in on everything going on this week. So now with that, we got to talk about everything from the PlayStation 5 and Xbox pre-orders. Did you get one? Was there a second wave? Did you get one there? Did you get lucky? Are you even getting one? Maybe you're trying to get a 3080 or a 3090. Good luck, dude. Have you been keeping up on the Tokyo Game Show news? What do you think about that stuff rolling out? Also, with all the trailers and stuff this week, are you playing Kirby Fighters 2? What do you think about Microsoft buying Bethesda? Just saying that out loud is insane. Let's talk about all the stuff going on this week, and be sure to let us know what you're playing for research purposes, all that down in the comments. Things get a little crazy though, so like I always say, if you want to find me directly, yell at me on Twitter and Instagram at Jake Baldino or Jake Baldino on YouTube. But thank you guys for coming around. Really, watching every week helps us put food on our table. Thank you. Hope you had a good time. Clicking the like button does help us out, but if you're new, consider subscribing because we put out videos every single day. I'll see you guys every Friday and on the Before You Buy videos. Thank you for watching. Pizza's on me.